Welcome to Back Some Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
We're going to talk about a Flash story today. I don't think we've ever just done a straight-up Flash story. We've done stories in which Flash ruins everything.
Yeah,
and
it's been tangentially related.
one Flash story we did was just the time Barry Allen came back to life. Like, it was just a severe status quo shift.
Right.
That was like the one Flash story I think we've done. So instead we're going to do this one from, I think, 93, which is written by Mark Waid with art by Greg LaRocque. In which Barry Allen comes back to life.
Wait, another one where he comes back to life?
The first one,
Oh.
when Barry Allen came back to life.
What was the second one? I don't even remember that.
That was like him coming out of the
Speed
Force?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So what happened here? Was Barry just dead?
Well,
Yeah, he died in Crisis,
that's
right?
right. He died in
Infinite-
Crisis on Infinite Earth? No, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Okay, Crisis, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
when he
don't
was-
blame you. They both
I
have
know.
Infinite in the
Unmaking
title.
the anti-monitors thing?
Yeah, the gun.
Okay.
So he died, and okay, so Barry died. And Barry was the Flash, the second Flash, because there was
Right.
Jay Garrick.
Right.
We don't
and,
count Jay.
No, Jay's in this, so we got to count him.
Son of a bitch.
Everyone's in this.
Everyone, the whole Flash family.
Yeah, Flash family. Which, like, okay, full disclosure, I'm not the world's biggest Flash fan.
No.
I know. As a kid, I was like, wow, a superhero with 1/4 Superman's powers. Why does anyone care? I eventually learned to at least appreciate Flash. Like, I still don't regularly read Flash comics. But when I do, I'm always like, oh, that was pretty fun. You know, but like, the powers don't appeal to me. The mythology doesn't really appeal to me. I respect it as a comic book aficionado.
Right.
Like, I dig it. I'm like, I get what you're playing at, but I don't want to read the everyday adventures of those characters.
But like, you've got 1/4 of Superman's powers. You also got 1/4 Batman. Being
Right, because he's a forensic expert.
Forensic expert, yeah.
He's a police detective. So
I'm a criminologist.
that's right. So yeah, and actually he's more qualified than Batman because he has a fucking degree.
Yeah, but that doesn't
Well,
matter
that
because
doesn't
Batman
make
is
him more
still like,
qualified.
the
That's
expert.
yeah, no. Batman actually
On
is
paper,
a,
maybe. But,
Listen, one of them is called the world's greatest detective.
right. And it ain't the one with a friggin' degree.
That's right.
You can't get a degree for Batman.
That's right.
And
There's
Bruce
no-
Wayne would look weird if he got
That's
that.
right. There's no Batmanology degree, but there should be. So yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Flash fan, and I remember growing up and being like, oh wow, a character who's fast, and like, listen, you know,
Yeah, but he's like
really fast.
And he uses his speed a lot, which Superman almost never does.
that's right. Well, unless he does it in conjunction with flying.
Yeah, he only
Right.
really uses it when he needs to.
Yeah. Well, so does Flash, but he also uses it, for fun. And,
That's his only power.
That's his only
he
power.
uses
so
it
he better
every
use
time.
it all the time.
But it's more fun because, like, Superman can do other stuff, so he
Yes.
doesn't need to use the speed as much. So
Right.
what if he could only use speed? That
Exactly.
would be kind of interesting.
Would that
He'd
be
solve
interesting?
problems in a different way.
Exactly.
Okay,
And that's
but-
why there's been enough Flash books to like last a lifetime, starring an infinite cast of Flashes.
Flash can also apparently vibrate his atoms to like phase through things.
Yes, well, that's Barry Allen can do that, and other Flashes, but Wally at this point in this story can't.
Okay.
He's
Can
not
Wally
as fast.
spin his arms and create?
He can create tornadoes and stuff.
tornadoes.
Yeah, but he's not as fast as Barry used to be, and he can't do all the things that Barry could do at the time of Mark Waid's taking over of the book. That being said, at this point, people are fans of Wally West Flash. Of course, Wally West took up the mantle after Barry sacrificed himself to destroy the Anti-Monitor's canon, or as everyone remembers after they collapsed the multiverse and there was one Earth and everyone got rebooted, Barry Allen died to save the Earth.
Right.
That's all anyone really remembers. Like, unless they try to really pinpoint it. And even then, characters will like refer to it like they were there, and they weren't. And they're like, oh yeah, no, Barry de-atomized. Like, Barry became like pure energy. And they say that at least 3 times in this story. And I'm here to tell you that that is not accurate. And it is so inaccurate because it's so egregious because of how recently Crisis had happened by the time they were referencing it. I get when Johns is like, oh, Barry dematerialized and became one with the Speed Force. He popped out during Infinite Crisis or whatever. Fine. It's been a decade or more by the time you're making that reference.
Right.
It was 86 to 93. Still less than 10 years.
Right.
And I happen to have a copy of Crisis. Let's have a look and see. So here he is. He's running. He shrivels into a skeleton.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when he is no more, his suit is left behind like it's never been occupied.
Yeah, like it's empty.
Yeah.
That's weird that the suit is still there.
Well, because then you can have an awesome moment when, like, Wally picks it up and holds it, in deference to his former master.
Yeah.
He doesn't put it on, right?
Eventually he does.
Okay,
yeah.
that's gross.
Well, yeah. But, like, because there was a skeleton in there? Because my assumption based on this is that it crumbles to dust.
Yeah, because he ages.
Yeah, and that the
rapidly.
dust, like, blows out of the face hole part of the suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no. Energy.
Well, maybe...
What about that part where he was turned into a skeleton?
Everyone conveniently ignores the skeleton part.
Maybe what they're saying is it's like a game of telephone where, like, you heard it happened.
Well, you see, what happens in Christ on Infinite Earth stays on Christ on Infinite Earth. So
Right.
no one remembers all that stuff because how could you when you got rebooted afterwards? You're on Earth 1 now. You don't know.
What people remember is that everything that happened before, they could just make up whatever.
Right.
And forgetting that, like, yeah, but no, it happened in the thing that rebooted it, so
Yes.
you can't say it's different.
No.
Because it was in that. If it happened before
But
that,
it happened
sure.
before the reboot.
Right. And what's funny about that is that there are things that they reference in this that happened before this, but that still happened.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing, though. You can pick and choose.
No, absolutely.
That's what the crisis affords you.
Yeah. It's such an inconsequential detail.
Right. Just let them have
It
it.
needs to be so that
The story can happen.
So that he can come
Barry
back from
Allen
the dead.
returns,
Yeah.
and it's not like, you were a skeleton! But Wally didn't see that happen.
Right.
In fact, I think only the Anti-Monitor sees it hasn't happened. In fact, I think only the Anti-Monitor sees it happen, and he ain't telling anybody anything.
You know what's creepy? He turns into a skeleton, still has eyeballs.
Yeah. It's
That way
real.
he can see all the shit happen.
Yeah. It's more horrifying that way.
Yeah, and at this point, he also thinks that his wife is dead, but she's not. But she is, because in the books that led up to Christ on Infinite Earths, they set up a bunch of stuff, including the revelation that Barry's wife, Iris West, who was Barry's wife, she was murdered by Eobard Thawne, aka Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom,
Right.
in a previous story, actually years before the last Flash story where they undid it and then Crisis happened. In that story, Eobard Thawne goes back in time, shows up, becomes Flash's greatest nemesis or whatever. He ends up murdering Iris in, like, the coat room of a party they're at by vibrating his hands and sticking his hand into her head.
Oh.
Yeah, that's his move.
Yikes.
So he does that, murders Iris, and that's that. And literally, like, she dies in a Batgirl costume, because it's a costume party.
Right.
So, like, Iris dies, and then Barry has a really hard time, tries to get over it, meets somebody new, goes to marry her, Reverse Flash comes back, tries to kill her.
What do you think
my
you're doing,
God.
Barry?
No, you don't get that.
You have to love me.
That's so close to real.
Yeah.
But he goes to kill her with his vibrating hand, and it's cool because Barry, like, chases after him and he grabs his neck and he says, "No, no more!" And as he's pulling on his neck, he kills him.
Oh.
Which, like, yeah, good.
Sure.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he was going to kill someone.
Right, he was
Yeah,
going to
he's-
murder this innocent woman who, by the way...
He's a time-traveling murderer.
Yeah.
He's horrible.
He's horrible. I love it because also Barry has to fight Zoom while Barry's new fiance is waiting for him at the altar. So Barry misses the wedding to save Fiona from being killed by Eobard.
Okay.
But he kills Thawne and he fucking dies. Like, straight up is
Right,
dead.
he's gone.
Yeah, and then the police show up and they're like, "Oh no, the Flash murdered this person. Time to start the trial of the Flash." And the Justice League has to have a friggin' meeting where they're going to decide if he deserves to stay on the League because he's a murderer now.
Wow.
And the one who cast the deciding vote is Superman. And all the other Leaguers like,
Superman.
Superman, he made a vow of non-murder, so we all know what he's going to choose. And Superman's decision is ultimately, everybody gets one.
right.
He doesn't even go
only
like,
I'm
he's a
Superman.
lunatic. Yeah,
Like,
right.
you know, like,
Yeah, I get to be able to say you shouldn't kill
yeah,
anybody.
but you guys, you need to be able to kill people sometimes.
Especially
because,
the guy with
like,
the
you're not-
arrows. I mean, the conceit of your weapon, your whole shtick is murder when you think
mean,
about it. Because
unless
you're
you're
not
just gonna-
always going to hit that apple.
Maybe you're just going to get people, like, through the limbs.
Yeah, but they might bleed out.
Right.
And you know what?
And-
Them's
and-
the breaks.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
you know,
listen.
you don't have a lot of options.
Right.
I'm Superman. I can do
I
anything.
have every option. I can also then say, and I won't kill a single person.
But Green Arrow also has like boxing glove arrows. He
does,
You could just
yeah.
use those.
That's true.
Always
but
use boxing glove.
Boxing
yeah, but
glove
you
arrow
can't
doesn't
fit too
solve
many of
every
those
problem.
in the
Yeah,
thing.
that's true. They're
You
so
can
big.
really fit one.
They need to like inflate or something. In any case, so the trial of Flash takes place, and ultimately Barry is exonerated, but like, whatever. To what end?
Yeah, but what does Fiona think?
Well, she is very sad. Ultimately, by the way, it doesn't work out with Fiona because Iris wasn't really technically from that timeline.
What?
Barry's wife,
Yeah.
seemingly normal human being, is actually from like the future. And when she died, her consciousness was collected by her parents from the future and brought back to the future and put into the body of a recently deceased, attractive young woman. And so she was resurrected because, of course, they knew, because they're from the future, that Iris would eventually be killed by Thawne. And so they were prepared for that eventuality. Because when she was born in the future, they knew she would have to go to the past because they knew her whole timeline because they were her parents and they had like the book on her. So they sent the infant daughter into the past to be adopted and raised. And so they were prepared when she died. And so at the
This
end...
is why I hate time travel books.
Right.
What the hell?
Yeah, what the... It's because they wanted Barry and Iris to be together. They were like, oh, the Fiona story's not going anywhere. You know what?
Bring her back. You shouldn't have killed her in the first place.
Just don't do that. Just think about it. Take 10 minutes and think about the consequences of your actions. Dear every comic book writer ever, do that, please. It'll save us all a lot of headache.
Or guess what? You killed Iris. She's dead now.
Then she's
That's
dead.
it.
Stay
End
dead.
of the day.
Dead means dead.
By the way, so right before Crisis, or right before the series Crisis Infinite Earths,
Yeah.
Barry goes to the future, meets his parents-in-law, and they give him the lowdown, and then he spends like a month with her. Albeit she doesn't look anything like her previous self because this is in a dead girl from the future.
Right.
But, you know, who gives a shit, right? Because she's still hot.
Yeah, but who was
No,
that
'cause her
dead girl
brain's
from
still
the
in there.
And her
future,
brain's
though?
still in there. Oh, yeah, that too.
What about the dead girl that died?
She died.
Oh, she's dead.
Yeah, but like, what about her family? Aren't they upset?
Well,
would
yeah,
they?
but they should have preserved her consciousness and been able to transport her into
They're
another
as-
body if they wanted
Yeah,
to
exactly.
have her.
They're as sad as any parent who like loses a kid who is an organ donor. You know, and then
Yeah.
like goes to that person.
But
who
people
got-
die every day.
Right.
Yeah, but
But not every day does their consciousness get collected from the time when they were killed and then get put into a reanimated corpse.
Yeah.
And when you're an organ donor, you get organs transplanted. It's not like someone just takes over your kid's body.
No, but I have seen, and it's actually heartbreaking to see, like parents listening to the heartbeat of their child in the body of another person. And like, that's cool,
weird.
and that's all they get.
Yeah.
That got dark. Let's talk about the return of Barry Allen. Some brighter
Jesus.
things. Because, okay, so Mark Waid is doing this story called The Flash, the ongoing saga of
Yeah.
Wally West, The Flash. And I think William Mesner Loebs, writer of The Max, was working on Flash beforehand, so he kind of like got people acclimated to Wally being Flash.
And Wally had pre-existed, right?
Oh, yes.
So people
Well, he was Kid
accepted
Flash.
him.
Yeah,
It's like, no, that makes sense. He was Kid Flash.
Well, it's funny. People were still pissed because like they always are, but eventually people got used to it.
How dare you?
What's funny is when Mark Waid was put on the book, he was inundated by fans of The Flash who read the book in the 60s who were like, so you're the new writer on The Flash. When are you going to bring Barry Allen back? And he's like, what?
Oh, I assumed it was, when are you going to bring back Jay Garrick?
Right. Well, no, because Jay Garrick is in
Jesus.
it. Like, Jay
Yeah, Jay
Garrick
Garrick
is a
never
member
died,
of the
right?
family. No, well, you know. No,
Yeah.
first he was a comic book
I guess he
character
came from
in
another
reality.
goddamn universe.
Yeah, well then after Crisis, he was always there.
Right, right. Fuck.
And that's the other thing that always drove me nuts about Flash is I'm like, okay, fine, all right, I'll grant you like going fast. That's your favorite superpower. Here's your favorite superhero. But why are there so many of them? Like, it's not enough that your main character can run, but you got 4 more characters, and all they could do is go fast.
Yeah.
That's just redundancies by redundancies.
There's
Like,
always
one
one
can't
who can
fly
go
and
fast.
go fast. One can't freeze.
Well, hang on. What about Batman and the Bat Family? You know, you got like 6 people, and all they are is like good at fighting.
Yeah, I have a real problem with the ever-expanding Bat Family. He's a loner, and he has 19 Robins. Dial it back. You're diluting the brand. But for some reason, when it's Flash, oh, they're a family. Look at them all running. In the book, as it stands, it's Jay, and it's Wally.
are Jay Garrick and Wally like buddies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's also like, it's weird because, Wally's mentor was Barry, and Barry's mentor was Jay, but Barry's dead, so Wally's mentor's mentor hangs out with him and they work together.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's like the greatest generation and then like the boomer generation and then like the millennial generation, and it's like then we get rid of the boomers and we just hang out together. It's like grandpa and
grandpa and grandson.
hanging
Yeah.
out. And by the way, Jay's cool and he's completely okay with Wally, but he does still call him Junior because, I was already used to like dealing with the younger Flash, and the younger of the younger Flashes is the only one I'm hanging out with. I'm going to call you Junior.
And now, like, he has to take up the mantle?
Wally?
Well, he already did.
Yeah, he already had. Like, Wally's already been Wally by the time we get to the return of Barry Allen.
Yeah,
But,
I'm sure Jay's pulling on his tights, and everyone's just like, whoa, we got Wally. It's okay,
no,
Grandpa.
No, they're copacetic. There's no qualms.
Copacetic, but I imagine the world just be like, we have a Flash.
Right.
It's Wally.
No one's arguing. If there's a burning
Get out of
building,
here, Jay Garrick.
we gotta empty this building of victims. No one's gonna be like, get out of here, Jay. We got Wally. He's taking care of it. Oh, by the way, everyone knows that Wally West is the Flash also.
Oh.
I guess because he could run away from any collateral damage that he would cause.
But, like,
What?
it's public knowledge.
What
It's
about his
public
family? Some psychopath's gonna murder his family
He's just
to get to
right
him.
now. All he's doing is sleeping with this hot lady named Linda.
Oh.
So who would eventually become his wife and the mother of his children, who are also Flashes. But right now, there's just a cute lady named Linda Park who is his girlfriend.
Okay. Barry gets his Flash powers from chemical splashed on him and lightning striking,
That's
right?
right.
How about Wally?
Same thing.
Okay.
They all
so
do.
Why do his kids suddenly have...
It's genetic.
Now it's genetic.
It's not genetic!
No, the lightning
No, it
changed his
changed his
DNA.
DNA.
Yeah, the lightning
And his
the
reproductive
chemicals,
DNA.
yeah, altered his DNA.
That's
He'd
right.
electrocute his wife every
If
time
Barry
they
had
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 sex.
children, they would have had powers too, probably.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe. He does.
Oh, he does?
Well,
Oh.
Barry's grandson does. Bart Allen
Oh.
from the future, who
Right.
comes back, and he's Impulse.
Who did he have kids with?
Iris.
Oh. Is that before he dies?
Gets a little dicey because they
Okay.
don't want to explain it yet.
Oh, I see.
There's actually a forward in this volume. I don't know what volume's in the description below this video, so you can buy a copy of The Flash: Return of Barry Allen, but I digress. All that follows is this like very self-indulgent, clearly never happened dialogue that Wade wrote between himself and Brian Augustine about how the idea for the story came about. And basically the gist of it is that Mark Waid was just constantly besieged by Flash Barry Allen fanboys at every turn, where he's like, every con I go to, every shop I go to, my postal service guy keeps complaining about me. When is Barry Allen coming back? We all read The Flash in the 60s. Why aren't you bringing back Barry Allen? There's no way we could do that. Can you imagine what would happen if we did bring Barry back, and then they all talk themselves into bringing back Barry Allen?
Yeah. Well, I guess what would probably happen is that, and then this.
And of course, there's like, oh, but we're not going to bring back Barry Allen. No. I'm just.
No, of course not. Of course not. But can you imagine, like, if we did that, what would the
multi-part
consequences
story
of
in which
be?
that happens?
Yes, and and the dialogue, it's cute. It's like a fun like high schoolers essay contest where it starts out with a like no. It's like maybe it's cold outside. The dialogue about bringing back Barry Allen. Like no, okay.
Like, here's all the reasons not to, but what about this? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like it literally ends with like, but we couldn't. Could we? And then you turn the page and you're reading the return of
reading
Barry.
the half.
Oh, it's very cute. I'm giving it a lot of hard time, but trust me, it's an adorable little interaction. But yeah. By the way,
It's
this
like the narrator talking to you instead of like a forward.
yes, yeah. Well, it's cute because you don't normally get like a dialogue scene in a forward.
Yeah.
By the way, this edition is also signed by Mark Waid.
Oh.
I did not get this signed by Mark Waid.
Oh.
So I think someone must have sent this to us and was just like, I want you to do this, and I don't care enough about it to keep it for posterity. But
I met Mark Waid and he sucks, so here's the book.
I
He still
have-
did some seminal
Maybe
work,
they
so I
got like a
respect
million
him.
things signed by him, so it's like, no, I got like.
I have 3 things signed by him. They're all trade paperbacks. They're worth nothing.
Right.
And like, but by the way, I do like Mark Waid. I've met him a couple of times. He's always been magnanimous and friendly.
No, this is the person.
the
who
guy who
sent
sent
you
this
the
to
book.
me. Yeah.
No,
But-
this is
and
Mark.
we've had
Mark,
this-
I'm not trying to
No,
find
you're
me
cool,
here.
man. He actually does watch comic YouTube, and he purports to hate all of it.
Ah.
But
Sure.
he also has clearly never watched this channel because I've met him 3 different times, and he's
Right,
never,
he has no idea who you
he has
are.
no idea who I am.
Yeah.
And he never will.
Maybe he is a fan and he refuses to
he doesn't-
acknowledge that.
right.
Being
Just
like,
that
no, that's
cool.
going to give everything
He's
away.
like Mr. Miyagi. He's just like, let me succeed.
I don't think that's it.
I sincerely doubt it. At the end of random issues leading up to the story arc that was the return of Barry Allen, they allude to this character that seemingly might be an antagonist, but then it's revealed to be Barry instead. They're like, oh my God, Wally's doing this thing, and then this energy being just comes to life, like off in the distance somewhere.
Right.
And they constitute themselves and
It's
they
like
walk
screaming.
down. Yeah, and then it comes through a dirty alley, and you're like, what? And then at the end of the last issue, just Barry Allen comes home and reintroduces himself to Wally West's supporting cast, not including Wally.
Okay.
He's like,
Just
hey!
like, hey, what up?
It's me. And they're like, what? And so are you. And all the people who've been badgering Mark Waid about this are like, I knew it. Finally. Thank you.
Hey, I'm still wearing my suit, even though I apparently left that behind.
Oh, yeah. You
No,
Wally's
I
literally
got a
wearing
new
it.
one.
Yeah. And Wally has a new one too, by the way. They show you the physical differences between Wally and Barry's flashes. By the way, the other people that Barry reveals himself to, his friend Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, not yet Parallax.
Right.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And yeah, so basically, when Barry returned from the nothingness, he had amnesia, but then he went to the Flash Museum and he got his memories back.
But he doesn't remember
went to the
what
Flash
happened
Yeah.
in his absence. Like, he wasn't remembering, oh, I was in a bizarre space world, or I was in a force.
He doesn't remember being in the Speed Force.
Okay.
But he does remember his life and everything
Okay.
like that makes him who he is.
But
Does
the
he
Speed
remember
Force isn't
friggin'
like a
turning into a
realm.
skeleton?
Well, he remembers becoming pure energy.
Oh. Maybe his memories were changed.
Sure.
And everyone's memories were changed.
Well,
such that he became pure energy.
that's true.
I guess nobody really saw him die. So if he remembers becoming pure energy and tells everyone that's what happened,
Then that is what
then
happened.
everyone's going to say that's what happened, even though we know he turned.
We know you turned into a skeleton and melted. So anyway, Hal's like,
Well-
I can't be in this book. This is a Flash book, so he leaves. And and Wally is introduced to Barry, and he's like,
fair.
his world is thrown apart.
Right.
There was an old, remember, there's a Flash book, so all the villains are the worst, which is why everyone constantly uses Professor Zoom / Reverse Flash and like Savitar and stuff, because like otherwise you get stuck with Mirror Master and the Pied Piper. But at this point, the Pied Piper, who was a Flash villain, is now a reformed Flash villain and will never become a villain again. This is one of those few that actually remains a good guy.
I see.
But still goes around in a costume.
Oh yeah, well because Pied
my
Piper,
thing.
he made contacts in the criminal underworld, and so while he is helpful to Wally, he also feeds Wally info about what's going on.
So bad guys don't know that he's a good guy now.
Not necessarily. Even though he is walking around in suburbia wearing his Pied Piper costume, palling around with Wally West, aka the Flash. But maybe these criminals don't watch fucking TV.
Right.
You know what it is that they don't have the internet, so ads aren't popping up
Well, it's
being like,
93, not a lot of people do.
you won't believe
Yeah.
bad guys hate this one person who's giving away all their secrets.
So Barry Allen sees it, was like, oh, I gotta get them.
Yes!
Yeah.
And Wally's like, stop. He's cool. And he's like, wow, that's crazy. Like, all right, good for you,
Hey, Pied Piper, you watch yourself.
Yeah, Wally gets suited up, and so we see the visual distinction between the two.
Oh, one of
Flashes.
them's shiny. That's
One's
the
shiny
difference.
and has no pupils when he puts on the cowl.
Oh,
Like
okay.
all superheroes who wear masks
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point.
okay.
Barry does have pupils. Like, you can see his face, and he says something like, I prefer my mask because there's something about letting people see your eyes that allows them to trust you better. You know, that's a little too much of a disconnect there, Wally. But you know
Right.
what? You do you. You're an adult.
But you know what? Yours is good too.
Yeah, it's a
Thanks.
good runner-up.
Thanks.
But you know what? You're creepy. Go ahead. Wear that eyeless thing.
Yeah, you want to look
You
like
monster.
Batman? Okay, fine. So they spring into action. Pied Piper, of course, was there to let them know that there's a subplot that doesn't matter, in which there is a criminal element that is trying to gain a foothold in the twin cities of Keystone City and Central City. Keystone City and Central City were basically the same cities. But after Crisis, they were like, there's too much stuff from either one of them. So like, there's a river, and there's a city over here, and a city over here, and they're both the cities that Flash came from.
Let's
Right.
split them.
Moving on.
Okay.
So they called them the Twin Cities.
I see a clown in an amusement park. Is this a Joker story?
It is not, because this is in either Central or Keystone City. Central City.
So
This
what?
this is a Central City amusement park.
Joker could bust out and be like, I'm expanding the brand.
The Joker knows that if he does break out, he will deal with characters with superpowers. Like if he takes over this amusement park, Wally will just show up and punch him in the back of the head, and that's all, and then it's lights out for Joker.
Yeah, like 50 times in a second.
Exactly.
And Barry Allen will fucking break his neck.
That's a signature move. But only if you try to murder anyone he's directly close to.
I call it the sleeper hold.
Yeah, the forever
You don't wake up though.
But anyway, so, but this new crappy character, the Combine, is gunning for control of the underworld between Keystone and Central City.
The Combine.
And I thought the Combine was a reference to like the name of the organization, but it's
No,
also the name of like this stupid-looking bad guy who is in charge of it. Which, so as it turns out, Combine actually is an apt term because it's a group of it's an organization or a
Okay.
collective of organizations that are looking to accomplish one specific purpose.
But
they
it's
work
also
together.
a guy.
It's also a guy who looks nothing like what that name would suggest.
Well, he has a combination of lots of different clashing
That's true.
like elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got like the stars and space inside his suit.
He should be called the Contradiction. Like, none of this works.
Or the hot mess.
or
He
inner
doesn't-
space.
And they don't fight him. He's just in it.
Wait, what?
he just
So Wade's
stands
just like,
and talks.
Let me just hang up the Combine and set you up for that. But the Combine wants to kill handsome Jack Giacomo, who is a gangster who is very vain. And every year on New Year's Eve, he rents this amusement park and like hangs out in it. So there's snipers that are hired by the Combine
What?
to kill him. That's his shtick. That's his thing.
He just, I guess he like invites his friends. He's like, "You got the run of the amusement park.
He
There's no
brings
lines."
his, like,
and
his cronies, you know,
Yeah.
like his hired goons.
it's a
his
weird.
underlings.
It's a weird thing to do for
These are
a
Flash
mobster.
villains.
It's weird, but at the same time,
These are the villains. This is what you get.
that sounds fun.
Right.
I mean, it
Well,
does
if I
like-
had power and influence, maybe that's what I would do.
Yeah, rent an entire
I'm
amusement
going to
park
rent the
for
Funplex
ComicPop?
and we're all just going to go nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Bounce
great.
to our heart's content. Yeah, that sounds awesome. All right. I'm going to give it to Jack, handsome Jack. But anyway, there's a
I know
couple-
what people want: cotton candy and fun.
Yeah. Listen, you know, it is all if it's all graft and crime and corruption, you know, you're going to lose sight of why you got into this business in the first place.
Look, my organization's
fun.
growing.
Yeah.
My thugs are getting married. They've got kids. I want something they can bring their family to.
Yeah, but he also wants first dibs, though. He is a douche. Like he'll cut the children, like to get in line.
Well, I mean, that he's the boss.
Well, yeah.
He's the boss.
That also, the kids got to learn respect.
That's right. Don't cry. Daddy needs this job. So anyway, there's snipers that are gonna kill him. Both Flashes kick ass and stop them. That's all you need to
They
know.
save the mobster.
They save.
They save a
handsome Jack.
crime boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got to save people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even bad people.
Even bad guys. So then Wally realized that Barry bailed on them after the bad guys are defeated, and Barry goes to Iris's grave and he mourns.
Ah.
He's like, "Oh, I didn't have time. Like I spent so much time, you know, wrapped up in being back to life and talking to people that I didn't like. I didn't think about the fact that you're gone and whatever." He mourns Iris, and then Wally
Right.
shows up and he's like, "An imposter wouldn't mourn the death of the person they're impersonating's wife, so you're Barry Allen."
He had thought he was an imposter.
He was like skeptical,
Right.
Like very minimally skeptical. He's like,
I mean, look.
he's like, "I'm back." He's like, "Okay."
Are you
I
though?
don't know about that.
No,
We'll
not even
see.
that close. Just like, "Okay, I'll give you a hug."
But I'm not going to give you the tap on the back.
No, I won't do that.
I'm reserving that until I figure out you're actually.
Now that
Barry.
I know, tap tap. So they're back. You know, woo, two flashes,
Yay.
and
two flashes.
it's just two flashes. And I can imagine that, like, if you're a Flash fan, you're like, "Woo, Barry's back!" And you know what? Like, it's not like you get a Superman book and then you get 4 Supermen, and you're like, "There's way too many Supermen."
Well, you will
yeah, like a
one
year
day
later.
get
But-
forced.
But we're also going to figure out that like, well, they're really not though.
But each
Well,
of
yeah.
those Supermen got their own book.
That's true.
But they're not
This is
Superman.
one book
But
with
these
multiple
are
flashes.
the Flash.
Yeah, and
So-
you've gotten this book. You already have Jay and Wally, so like you're used to having multiple Flashes in one book
Right.
anyway. So this is not really upsetting the apple cart for you. You're just getting what you want.
And this isn't a situation where Barry's being all weird, being like, "Okay, Kid Flash," and Wally's like,
Hey,
no,
it's Flash now.
No, it's Flash."
He's a little bit like that, but not glaringly so. And Wally acknowledges it in his head, and he's like, you know, yeah, I was Kid Flash. I was Kid Flash when he died.
Right.
I
not gonna
get
be
it.
weird about it.
And Barry also is like, listen, I'm sorry if I like refer to you as like Kid, Sport, Junior, whatever, but like that's what you were. But
Yeah,
you're the
to
Flash
me, that was
now.
like literally a day ago.
Exactly, but like you're Flash, and I get that, and I'm not going to step on your toes. So
Right.
like, let's do this.
So what are people going to call them?
The Flash.
They're both calling them the Flash.
Yeah.
Well,
they're both being
well,
called the Flash
one's
by
Barry,
the public.
one's Wally, but if you say the Flash, you can
Well,
get either.
there's one Flash who looks like the Flash who died that no one knows the identity of, and then there's Wally West the Flash.
Okay.
Right, because nobody knows
Yeah.
that Barry is the Flash, or was the Flash. They kept that a secret.
So when people say the Flash, they'll mean Barry Allen, and if they want to talk about Wally, they'll just call him
Let's
Wally.
call him Wally Flash or something. Well, Wally acknowledged that to Linda, and Linda's like, well, maybe it's time for you to change your costume and your name.
Oh.
So they spitball some ideas. Wally hates them all and shoots them all down.
Hey, I was the one that stayed alive. He came back to life. Why doesn't he change his name?
That's right.
Yeah.
Why should I change? He's the one who sucks.
I can see his eyes. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's lame.
It's creepy and weird.
Yeah, I don't like it. So the Combine strikes again. They send like armored Boba Fett's to go mess things up. They accidentally wind up derailing a subway train through the street. It blasts into like the
Sweet.
passerby.
Oh, like Speed.
Yeah, like Speed.
Yeah.
Wally uses his like armed tornadoes to try and slow it down.
Oh, hey.
Jay joins in, helps. But then Barry shows up last, and he, with all their combined tornado powers, slow the train down and stop it from killing people. And then everybody shows up, the fawning masses, and they want autographs. Wally's ready to go sign them, but Barry sneaks in.
What do you mean ready to go sign them? I already signed them all.
Yeah, what are you talking
They
about? I
are.
knew what you
Yeah.
wanted. No, Barry's already signed him. He's like, hey, listen, like maybe one day you can grow up and be just like your old favorite superhero, the Flash.
Yeah, maybe one day you could melt into a skeleton and
Nobody
then
knows that I did
mysteriously
that.
come back to life.
Nobody knows I
without
did that.
any
They just remember
explanation.
me as being awesome. And that's the thing, is that Wade is trading on the idea that like everyone remembers that Barry is the best.
When he started, he was the only one.
Yeah, and then
now
there was this-
Then he became the second,
Yeah.
but also the best.
And the fourth. Because there's also like Johnny Quick and Jay Garrick.
Johnny Quick.
Yeah, don't talk
Oh
about
God.
him. He died for us. Like the Christ analogies alone.
Yeah.
And, like, he died to save the world. And
Right.
in like a nebulous kind of like, well, how?
Yeah, because
Like-
no one knows specifically how.
Yeah,
They
no
just
one can say like, well,
remember.
the anti-monitor. Like they're just like, no.
Yeah.
Well, we all remember that he died.
What was threatening the world?
Right.
What threat did he avert?
Yeah, and it's like actually he didn't really succeed because countless worlds were destroyed because the multiverse was doomed. So
Right.
really he didn't do much except break a gun. In any
Right.
case, but the collective consciousness of America and of the world in the DC universe at this point remembers Barry as being great and awesome. And like when he was
They're not
being-
wrong.
They're not wrong. And when he was written, he was like he was a cop. So like they wrote him like a TV cop. He was friendly. Mark Waid refers to him. He's like he wasn't quite Rob Petrie funny. But he was just like he had a good kind-heartedness about him. Rob Petrie, for those of you who don't remember, is Dick Van Dyke's character from the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Ah.
Really dating the writer of this book and the book itself.
Yeah, but he's not Joe Friday. He's not like Stone Cold just
They
facts.
refer to him as like not they refer to Joe Friday, but they're like he wasn't Joe Friday because he wasn't nearly as hard-edged as Joe Friday. Yeah, it's a little more fun. Maybe he's Joe Friday from the Dragnet movie in the 80s. He's Dan
There we go.
Aykroyd's Joe Friday. But yeah, so Linda and Wally talk about it, and she's naming all these different names. She's like, hey, what about Quicksilver? He's like, taken.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, Marvel. No.
Nah.
But no, actually, there was a Quicksilver
Oh yeah.
in the Charlton universe.
I don't know what that is.
That was where all of the Watchmen characters came from.
Oh.
Blue
yeah,
Beetle,
yeah.
the Question, and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Quicksilver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was he a speedster?
He was a speedster. Yeah. And he has a very complicated history.
Oh boy.
Much more complicated than all the other Flashes.
Well, we're not here to talk about Quicksilver.
But maybe we will.
He shoots her down.
He completely
With
shoots through
extreme
all the-
prejudice.
Yes. He's just like, maybe you could wear blue. And he's like, hey, what is this, 2020? Because in 2020, Wally would eventually put on a suit that is a blue version of his new Flash costume, apropos of Dr. Manhattan.
What, didn't it work for Superman?
Yeah, right? That he wouldn't become blue yet. Superman hasn't even a mullet yet.
Isn't it going to work for Superman?
Well, they don't know.
Or it doesn't?
But, Barry goes back to the alley from which he came when he came back to life.
Okay.
He's like, something about this, I'm drawn back here. And Wally's like, don't
Right.
worry about it. And they allude to, there's this thing, this burnt book that's under some garbage in the alley from which he came that has the name Allen on it. Oh, what's that book all about? It may be a MacGuffin that gives you all the context you need for later in the story. So the police get a tip from the Pied Piper, of course, regarding more of the Combine's forces. Those guys who derailed the train, they
Yeah.
were tracked to a warehouse. Barry and Wally and Jay all show up. They all argue about what to do because Barry's like, "Don't forget, I can move my molecules and I can just pass through the door and see what's going on." And Wally's like, "Yeah, but like, if you do that, you might go into a trap. Like they probably know that we could track them. Like they're probably waiting for us. Like you need to slow your roll. And so they're all arguing, and then the Combine's giant, awesome laser tank blasts through the wall, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna roll in and take shit over." So the three Flashes spring into action, and they fight.
They fight Cobra.
They fight Cobra and their awesome new action playset tank. And Jay and Wally are incapacitated.
What?
Yeah, well, they got to run. So if the ground comes out from under them, what are they going to do? So Wally gets crushed under some rubble, or seemingly gets crushed under rubble, and the Combine's like, "Woo! We did it! We killed the Flash!" And Barry goes, "You did what?" And he runs at supersonic speed, which blows out like the eardrums of everyone in this general vicinity.
Oh.
So loud is he. And he's screaming his head off at the lead like Combine member.
Yeah.
And Wally shows up to try and stop him, and Barry is yelling so fast and loud or whatever that like no one can really understand what he's saying, but Wally can.
And he's talking fast. He's doing. Yeah. Is that an ability he has to talk super fast?
That actually is an ability that they have.
That makes sense.
What do normal people hear?
They hear nothing or like a high pitch.
Yeah. There, that was all of War and Peace. Thanks, Peter.
Yes. Yeah, Flashes actually do that to talk to each other, like when they're like hanging out with Batman and stuff.
All right, I have that recorded, and when I slow it down to like 1,000th of its speed, I'll figure out what you said.
That's right. So Wally is he's given pause. He's
like, "Whoa, man, what are you doing?"
Because he heard what Barry said, but no one else could.
What did he say? "I'll fucking kill you!
Snap your neck like I do everyone." So he's talking to Linda, and Linda's like, "Who gives a shit? Let's make tacos." And he's remembering it, and it says, "I'm the Flash. Do you understand, you punk? I'm the Flash." Like he was upset, not because Wally was almost killed, but because the guy referred to him as the Flash.
Because the bad guy called Wally the Flash.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
like,
messed
no.
up.
Wow, Barry.
No, I'm the Flash, you son of a bitch.
Not
Don't
that
you
you
forget
killed
it.
my friend.
Yeah. Jay, by the way, so Jay Garrick, older.
Jay also heard it. He's just like...
He did not hear it, or maybe he did, but like the point is that Wally was quicker to accept Barry's return. Jay is like, I don't know. Jay's been really affable and friendly about it, but Jay was actually more skeptical and suspicious of Barry's return.
He's been around longer.
It's been. So he's like, I'm going to check in on this. I'm going to call an old friend. I'm going to call my old buddy, Johnny Quick, another speedster from the past.
Oh, boy.
So he hooks up with Johnny Quick, and the two of them are like, well, we could work on this, but you know who really should be brought in on this? Max, a character we've never met before. Meanwhile, Barry and Wally get a tip about the Combine.
Yeah.
They go to a corporate high-rise. They break in. They find a little miniature model, a perfectly scaled replica model of, like, the city.
Nice.
And then they bump into the Combine himself, who is a complicated mess of a character. He's like, I've dealt with Flashes before, or at the very least, I know how to fight Flashes. So, behold my green orb.
When has he dealt with Flashes?
It's not that he's, like, dealt with them. It's more like, I know what I'm dealing with. If I'm in this city, I know I gotta fight.
Okay.
So he traps the Flashes in this like energy bubble.
Okay.
And
Is that a thing people have done before?
It's a thing
Are
that
they weak to energy bubbles?
no, it's more like, well, how are you gonna get out now?
Right.
You're
you
in an
can
energy
run around
bubble,
inside that bubble, but
but you'll never
all
free
the good it'll
yourself.
do you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's energy. It's not something physical that can break.
Right.
And Wally is the Flash. That's who Combine was probably prepped to fight. And so Wally can't vibrate his molecules to pass through objects. So this works out perfectly.
But Barry can.
But Barry can. So Wally is like, your energy, because Barry tries and he can't, and Wally's like, maybe if we both did it, we could break through the barrier. So, but I can't do it, so what happens is Wally starts trying to do it, and then he gets Barry to jumpstart him to start vibrating his molecules. So then Wally starts vibrating his like arm and molecules to like vibrate against the barrier.
Yeah.
And then,
Vibrate with me, Wally.
yes.
Grab me.
So the two of them vibrate together, and their vibrations allow for Barry to pop out of the bubble, and the vibrations continue, so Wally's arm is actually free. And he's like, oh my god, it's working! Barry, I'm not strong enough, pull me out! And Barry's like, no. Because you're an upstart. You tried to make everyone forget that I was the real Flash.
What?
You're a terrible Flash, so I'm just gonna leave you in here to die. Good luck.
That's insane.
Then he bails, and Wally's like, fuck. Meanwhile,
Hey, at least it didn't snap your neck
that's right.
or
Yeah.
choke you to
Yeah.
death.
So
I could have
Count your
Eobard
blessings.
thorned you.
that's right.
But I didn't.
Jay and Johnny go to this subway token booth at the MTA and meet up with Max, an older gentleman who is content to live this mundane lifestyle. He accidentally drops his tokens, revealing that he also has super speed. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I'll join you. And they bust out his old costume from the 40s, and he's
Oh,
like,
so they knew he was.
oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But he's like,
But he's trying to pretend.
I don't even think that guy can go
I don't even
fast
know how to
anymore."
go fast.
We want these old flashes. We don't want new flashes. New flashes are lame.
Yeah, no, the new hotness is old flashes. So now we've got 3 decrepit flashes who are all going to help.
What is happening? Why would they introduce a new old Flash?
I don't know.
How many flashes do you friggin' need?
Right? So right now there's 5 flashes in this book.
That's
Johnny
too
Quick,
many.
Jay Garrick, Max Mercury, Wally West, and Barry Allen. Max Mercury is another old Flash, the oldest Flash, actually.
Older than Jay Garrick?
Older than Jay Garrick. He's in the 1800s, man.
What?
He got his powers from an Indian shaman.
Jesus. Okay.
And then, like, the
Does
nature...
that make any sense?
It doesn't. But, like, how does any of it...
Has there always been a Flash?
No, it's not like he's a totemic
Like every
thing.
generation, there's a Flash.
Well, there's always a Speed Force.
Well,
the
until
Flash
the
God
existed
gives them their
until it
powers?
didn't.
No, what's funny, okay, so Ben actually tapped on something interesting because the Speed Force wasn't invented until Mark Waid invented it in the Flash book.
Right.
So Barry didn't have a Speed Force, but now he does, and Mark
And he
is
always
setting
did.
up that Barry may have disappeared into the Speed Force. So actually the idea that Johns uses to bring back Barry Allen again was Mark Waid's setup in the
Right.
90s.
Okay.
But when they set that up and Mark Waid introduces Max Mercury, a character who already existed who was Quicksilver, and a number of other
Oh.
characters.
Ah.
He had a number of names, but he was originally like a cowpoke in the Old West, and he met up with these Native American shaman, and they made him fast so that he could protect the tribe. And then basically what happens with Max is he keeps like slipping through time. Like, so he keeps like jumping through time.
Oh.
So like he was in the 1800s, and he the next thing he knows, it's in the 20s. And so he's
Right.
he's a new character. And so he was that character in the 20s, and he had to do a different costume. And the last time anyone saw Max Mercury was in the 70s when he had this costume that Jay and Johnny had conveniently for him to come out of retirement.
Okay.
It's also why Max isn't a gazillion years old.
Right. Okay.
Because he's only lived like 30 years, but he's jumped through time.
He is old though,
He's-
right?
He's older.
Yeah, he's
know,
not
he's-
decrepit.
No.
I like the concept that he can't control his powers enough, so like he inadvertently
Like
pushes himself through time.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
It's kind of like that, but
I
like,
also
he's-
like the
he's-
idea that if he's in the 70s and he's a character called the Flash, he was probably starring in porn at the time.
He wasn't called the Flash. He was never a Flash.
He was Quicksilver.
Yeah, he was Quicksilver or other names that don't
Or other
matter.
things. And Johnny Quick, just real quick.
He was also a member of the JSA, and he also had speed powers. But Johnny Quick got them through a mathematical formula he learned. And so if he says the formula, he can run really fast.
If he says it.
Yes. Or,
Like
or
a
if he,
spell?
Or if he visualizes it in his mind.
Oh. Well, why wouldn't he just do that every time?
Well, he does.
Okay.
But if he wants other people to go fast, they have to calculate the formula out loud or in their heads, and then they can get
So
fast.
anybody can go fast? They just need to know this formula?
Yeah, but it's a really hard formula to know.
but if it's written down, you know it.
Yeah, but he never writes it down.
Yeah, well, that would be dangerous because then it could fall into the wrong hands.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, this is like the anti-life equation, but for speed.
Why
Yeah,
were there
yeah.
2 speedsters on the JSA? That sucks.
You had Superman. Why is there any speedster on the JSA? So Barry has betrayed Wally, and Wally is like, "Oh my God, what
Wally's
have I?"
still in the bubble, right?
Oh,
How do you get out of that bubble?
Well, because his arm was still kind of like through it.
Right.
He basically just pulls himself through the energy bubble.
like,
He's
all right, well, I gotta figure out how to do this. Yeah.
He just yanks himself through it.
At least it didn't cut his arm off, which
Right.
is what I thought was going to happen.
What
No,
happened to
no.
Combine? Where'd Combine go? Did he just put it in the
left.
bubble and he left?
Yes.
Well, you're taken care of.
Yes.
There,
Sure.
now I can leave my miniature city.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, Wally has a crisis of faith. If Barry Allen was always a piece of shit, why am I Flash at all? So he quits being the Flash.
Ah.
And he does it
It's not
in
a
front
reason to quit being the Flash.
So he does, and then he throws his costume away in his apartment while the
no
TV
more.
is revealing that Barry Allen has regretfully, mournfully gone to the local TV station to announce that Wally West the Flash has died.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And Wally is so sad,
It's like, no, I didn't.
but he's already been betrayed. So
I'll just stay in my apartment and not contradict this.
that's what he does. That's exactly what he does. He just stays in his apartment and like
Right.
grows a beard and eats like Funyuns.
What about
The
Linda?
hell?
So then, Linda hangs out with him.
So wait, does Barry?
She's fine with this.
She's
she's being supportive. He'll figure it out.
On.
Yeah. Why would Barry say he's dead? He knows he didn't leave him dead. Like
Well, he assumes that there's no way.
Because he assumes he's going to die and he doesn't.
Oh yeah, I guess the
he
combine killed
wants
him
to
or
be
something.
the Flash.
Yeah. Yeah.
He couldn't have survived. His hand was halfway out that bubble.
Yeah.
There's no way he would have made it.
Nope.
Like what?
He doesn't even bother to explain the real story. He just says like, we were fighting the combine and Wally West died.
And he died. There's no body. Don't ask any questions.
So I'm the one true Flash.
Yeah.
And you can all worship me now.
There's only one good solution to this
messed
book,
up.
and that's for Barry to get sucked back into the Speed Force. Wally needs to like find him,
Yeah, push
and
him
like
back in.
activate the
Just
Speed Force and just
shove him
shove
in
him
the
back
yeah.
in.
Get the fuck out of here. Kick.
Next time you come back, I'm gonna do the same thing to you.
That's right. And then
right.
what's ironic is, of course, when Barry would come back, it's Barry who shoves Wally into irrelevancy because Jeff Johns is in charge now. But so anyway, Barry goes nuts, and in a Green Lantern tie-in, he engages a fight with Hal Jordan, and so
Oh.
Barry fights Hal, and the Flash Museum is basically destroyed as a result.
Oh no, not the Flash Museum.
I know. A place that, by all rights, shouldn't exist because any villain would trash it every opportunity they get. So,
Well, not only that, but like it's the Flash Museum. Flash could like re-erect it in what, 3 minutes?
that's true. That's true.
Was it built to like commemorate Barry Allen, who saved himself to save the world, or who sacrificed himself to save the world?
No, there's always a Flash Museum. I think it's just that like these cities like Flashes, so they want to.
There's been a few of them, so
So we should have a museum.
yeah.
So at this point, after Barry fights Hal, all bets are off. He's a bad guy now. So he just starts like causing mischief. You know, like there's a construction site. He shakes the foundation, and so these construction workers are gonna fall, and then Johnny
saves
Quick
them.
and
Oh.
Jay Garrick shows up with
Right.
Max Mercury, and they save them. And Jay's like, "All right, Barry, I always knew you were a piece of shit since you came back to life."
I
Not
always
before."
knew you. Oh, okay.
No,
So-
I never
Since you came alive.
believed that you were on the level
you-
when you came back.
right, right.
So let's do this. And so
You came back from the dead. Something's wrong with you.
something's wrong.
Yeah, you came back wrong.
That'd be hilarious if Jay was like,
Sometimes we
cemetery.
come back wrong.
yeah, if he was like antiquated, he's like, "You're a zombie." Like, he doesn't trust anyone who came back to life. He's like, "I don't trust that Superman.
Yeah.
He's a zombie."
Sometimes dead's better.
That's right. So the three Flashes, all of them older than Barry,
Right.
fight Barry, and Barry beats basically all of them.
Yeah.
Max does reveal though that he's pretty cool. Like he's fast, but also nimble and agile.
What?
He
Those are
Unlike
just
my
synonyms
arthritic
for
joints.
fast.
but he also uses like his speed is more like Quicksilver in that like it's fluid. You know, it's almost like a ballet for him. You know, the other Flashes just run and punch, but Max, he's it's the same fucking thing.
He's just a little more graceful with his speed.
That's all.
It's just like if someone was like more coordinated and had super speed.
Yes.
You know what it is? He's got tunes playing in his head.
Yeah.
Old timey music.
Right. So Wally is sad and he goes back to where it all fell apart for him, the alley where Barry came back to life. And this is when we finally reveal the tome. This like nerd picks up this old burnt Flash book and he's just leafing through it while Wally's feeling sorry for himself.
Wearing a turtle's jacket.
The nerd, for no good reason, decides to start reading random names in the book aloud, one of which is Iris. That catches Wally's attention, and he's like, "Give me that book!" And the nerd's like, "No, it's mine.
I found it.
And he's like, "Just give it to me!" And instead of punching him, he just gives him $20 and he gets the book.
Okay.
So he reads it and he's like, "Oh shit!" And it's basically like Wally got this book and he read the ending. He's like, "Oh, okay." So then
Okay.
so
Anytime someone says the word Iris, my interest peaks.
yeah,
So-
my Flash sense is tingling.
So it's a future book about the history of Flashes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Max is fighting Barry, and they're on the scaffolding, and Max is making quick work of Barry, and Barry doesn't know who that is because he's never heard of
Right.
Max Mercury, and so it's a pretty cool fight. And Max basically leads Barry into a clotheslining that Jay sets up, where he's got like a pylon, like haha, and Barry just walks right into it.
Yeah.
And Jay's
An
like,
I-beam. Smashes him into an I-beam.
"That's right, thank you." So then,
Just stay down. Just stay down.
That's right. So Wally reads the book. Barry fights the Flashes. Barry creates a like whirlwind that brings down a news chopper. Jay runs up the building into the chopper, saves the people, but then the chopper explodes, seemingly killing the people in the chopper and Jay. This is signified by Jay's Mercury helmet falling at the feet of Wally, who has renewed his faith in being the Flash after having learned this terrible secret.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to. Of course.
Picks up Jay's helmet. Oh no, because you're reading the book. You're like, okay, we had 5 flashes. Now we're down to 4 flashes, but really 3 flashes.
Clean it
because one of
up.
those flashes is bad.
Yeah.
So okay, we'll clean the house. But no, Max saved Jay and the people,
Right.
and so all the flashes convene. Sans Barry, because Barry's on a tear. So Wally gets brought up to speed, no pun intended, in which he talks to Johnny Quick and Max Mercury, and he's like, "This is bizarre."
It's like, "Ah!" Like, "Ah!"
No, they don't talk fast. They talk at our speed for our benefit. Thank God.
And then it was like, Jay, you didn't tell me about these guys?
Yeah.
What are you, these?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Are these your bridge friends?
Well, he does know who Johnny Quick is, but yes, they've never run together.
Right.
So maybe they don't run in the same circles.
Oh,
So
predator.
so they all essentially they're like, okay, well, Wally, this is your book, so you're the one who has to fight Barry. Plus, he's your mentor. We're all gonna fight
We're friggin'
him.
old and shit.
We're all gonna fight him. Like but we're setting up.
But the last punch is
contextually-
for you.
Yeah, we're gonna contextualize that you need to be the one to beat Barry at the end. We're all motivated in our character direction to fight Barry, but you as the reader know that for some reason all of us won't be on the table to fight Barry at the end of the story.
Right.
So Wally is like, I'm not fast enough to fight Wally. So Wally's like, I'm not fast enough to fight Barry. So they basically have this conversation where all the Flash is like, here's what you gotta do. Jay's like, you gotta
I'll
wear
tell
a
you how to
dumb
run
helmet.
faster.
And Johnny Quick's like, you gotta say this dumbass formula. And then Max Mercury's like, you gotta do some motherfucking yoga. And Wally's like, this sucks. All the Flashes are stupid. I hate this.
He's faster than all of you. Why would any of that help me beat him?
Right, well, because I need to get the edge.
Yeah, I need to have all 3 of you in one body.
All of it. I'll wear the helmet. I'll do the yoga.
Doesn't do that.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm
He's
going to
not
use my
Spider-Man at
arms.
the end of Far From
and I'm
Home,
going
where
to
he
blend
gets
you
all-
guys up, and I'm going to drink your bodies.
There you go. Yeah.
There.
If he were a psychopath, that's a great idea. But so eventually, by the way, Wally will learn Johnny Quick's formula, and it will augment his speed, and now Wally will just be faster than Barry ever was.
And he does yoga too.
He does. He learns from Max, but Max kind of goes away after the story, and then won't come back later until Bart Allen, Barry Allen's grandson from the future, shows up, and then Max becomes Bart's mentor.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
Oh.
But for
Cool,
now,
I
he's just this
guess.
rando.
Right.
So Wally springs into action because
So what do they convince him to just try anyway, or
well, Wally has to bring them up to speed because he's read the book. So he's like, oh, well, here's what's going on, and lightning strikes and thunder roars, and so we as the reader can't hear what they talk about.
Don't worry, it's fine though because the book says I win.
Right. So Barry is causing trouble. He goes into the local prison.
what is he trying to do?
He is freaking out, man. So he goes to the local
mixing it
prison.
up.
Yeah, he frees all the prisoners.
Well, he
He
probably
night
doesn't-
falls up the Flash. He
Oh,
frees all the
boy.
prisoners. He gives them all guns, and he's like, "Let's go!" So then all the Flashes show up, and they keep the prison riot from spilling out into the city.
Right.
Meanwhile, Wally goes to the Wally goes to the destroyed Flash Museum because he's got a little errand he's got to run. So he goes into the Flash Museum and he goes through all their stuff. He passes a lot of fun iconography, like this area which is the Friends of the Flash, Aquaman and Plastic Man. Look at them. And he goes into the area where they keep the cosmic treadmill, and he's like, "That's cool."
Wait, it's there?
Well, you have to be Barry to use it.
It's a treadmill.
It's a treadmill, but you have to run as fast as the Flash to do it. So for most people, you can't. Now, it just so happens there's 17 Flashes, so really anyone can do it apparently. But for all intents and purposes, only Flashes could operate it.
So this is the actual cosmic treadmill.
Yep, we keep it in the museum, just out in the open.
Right.
And
Don't worry, Batman already went in at some point and switched it out for a fake. He's got the real one.
And he creates rocket boots. Wally finds a Flash ring in the museum because I don't think Wally uses a Flash ring. I think only Barry really used the Flash ring.
Right.
And then he brings it into the Rogues Gallery room.
Oh
which
my
is, of course,
God.
the name that is used for the Rogues Gallery of the Flash.
Right.
Which is, of course, called the Rogues Gallery.
So he's going to fight Barry, and then in the middle of the fight,
Like-
activate the ring and rip off Barry's costume, and then Barry will be naked and embarrassed and can't fight anymore.
Perfect. You can see my shame!
I figured it out.
Johnny and Max are dealing with the rioters while Jay fights Barry. Barry gets the upper hand. Jay rips off Flash's logo, and he's like, "You don't deserve to wear this." And Barry's like, "I'm the only one who deserves to wear this," and he grabs Jay's leg and he breaks his leg.
Oh.
Now Jay is out of
Right.
commission.
You can't run with a broken leg.
Nope. So, we didn't kill him, but we did take him off the table.
Yeah.
Back down to 4. So then Barry just double KOs Johnny Quick and Max Mercury on his way out.
There. Now it's just one-on-one.
And his suit's torn, so he needs to go to the Flash Museum and get another suit.
Oh.
So he runs in, and he's looking for it, and while he's looking for it, Wally's like, "Hey man, looking for this?" And he tosses it to him, and he goes, "Put it on, man. I have the book from the future, so I know who you really are. So put on your costume and put up your dukes, because it's time for Wally West to fight Eobard Thawne."
Yeah, of course.
What?
Reverse Flash from the future.
This was Eobard Thawne the whole time?
The whole time.
Does
This book is
Eobard
not the
Thawne
return of Barry Allen.
and Barry
No.
look the same?
Yes.
That I was unaware of.
Well, we'll explain why in a minute. Because they don't look the same naturally.
Right. But right now they do. And
Yeah.
here's why.
And here's why. Because you're going to get the big climactic fight. We got to get another issue or two out of this.
Yeah.
So we got to give you the whole context. So
Yeah.
as Wally is fighting Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash reveals, the secrets of his nefarious plan, which is that he's from the 25th century. It sucks. It's a cold, sterile place and no one wants to visit.
Yeah.
but the plastic surgery is great.
I'm sorry, Ben, no. It's called plastomorphs.
The plastomorph surgery.
Yes, that's right. But essentially, there are no superheroes in the 25th century.
Oh, okay.
Which-
they're all dead or whatever.
I just assume because the future sucks,
The
there
future
are no
sucks,
heroes.
but I guess we're still.
I thought-
it's 500 years in the future. We're still too early for the Legion of Superheroes.
I was going to say, what about
Yeah. What about everybody? What about
Yeah.
Superman?
now Superman
No,
disappeared
he just dies apparently.
or whatever.
Yes. So, Eobard reveals the future I come from sucks. We romanticize superheroes. Everyone wants to match wits with Batman or get an arm wrestling fight with Superman or run with the Flash. I'm a Flash fanboy. I am a total otaku for the Flash, and so he basically.
When I come back to your time, it's like I am the Flash.
It's more complicated than that. So Thawne reveals, I was a Flash fanboy. I loved and worshipped Barry Allen to the point where I thought we were friends. I'm that much
Except
of
Barry
a
Allen
lunatic.
was dead
Yeah,
like,
but 500 years. Yeah, but
I was just born in the wrong century.
that's right.
God. Now,
And so- and
hold-
he-
1 second.
Yeah.
This is all new backstory for Eobard Thawne. Didn't he
It's
previously
actually
exist?
It's an updating of Eobard Thawne's history. No,
Ah.
when he was killed by Barry Allen,
Yeah.
that's the same Thawne. That Thawne's backstory is that he was a Flash fanboy and then came back and was sad
Okay.
and fought Barry and became one of his greatest villains. This is the same Thawne, but he went back at a different time and went through a different villain origin story. It'll all line up, I promise.
Okay, all right,
So
all right.
He's still going to die though. The
I'm just-
future of Eobard Thawne is that he will die from the Flash.
He will be snapped by
Yeah.
Barry.
This is just before that happens.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So Thawne, of course, reads the book, The Life and Times of Barry Allen the Flash, so he knows every detail of Barry Allen's history and is an obsessive lunatic, so he does all this research. So he knows.
Baron kept a very detailed
Barry
journal.
died. Someone else wrote this book.
Oh.
The identity of which is a secret until the very end.
Ah.
But clearly Thawne is unhinged. He goes to the plastomorph factory. He gets his visage changed to look like Barry Allen.
Right.
And then he finds out that this local collectibles pawn shop place has the cosmic treadmill. And so he murders the clerk, steals the treadmill, and then spends every penny of his fortune to recreate the experiment that made Barry Allen into the Flash to get himself Flash powers, because all he wants to do is go back in time and hang out with Barry Allen. That's why he
Wow.
got horrible plastic surgery and murdered a man at a retail job and stole the cosmic
Wait.
treadmill and inundated his body with chemicals and lightning.
His idea for being able to go back and hang out with Barry Allen is to
become
look
him.
like Barry
Look,
Allen. Why would that work?
It's not necessarily part of the plan. It's more like that was the end game that coalesced. Like,
Look,
you're an
looking
obsessive.
looking like Barry was the first step of my
Right.
plan.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking I'd go back in time and meet him,
right,
but
but then
I
I
might as
realized,
When
well.
I
like,
found
why
out
did
that
I
the
do
cosmic
that,
treadmill
too?
existed, I couldn't help myself. I have to recreate the experiment,
Right.
make myself into Flash. Then I can actually go back, and he'll actually be even more impressed that I even look like him. Like,
Right.
I'm sure he won't think that's weird. and creepy.
He'll know how big a fan I am.
Yes.
Because I went all out.
Right.
That's very real.
I'll just lie to him
Right.
and say I'm him from the future and that I have to hang out with him because the future.
Yeah.
The future depends
Well,
on
and don't
it.
forget, Mark Waid talks about like all these Flash fanatics who are just like, hey, I know you've been writing about Wally West and that Barry's been dead since '86, but like, when are you gonna bring him back though? Like,
Right.
Mark Waid knows
Oh my god.
dedicated fanboys.
Yeah. This is him
So-
telling it all the fuck off.
Here's a question.
What a jerk.
Why did Eobard mourn at Iris's grave?
Oh,
Oh, well, I'm sure that's going to come up.
it does. Because he is playing an act.
Yeah, so he knew.
So he could convince Wally that he's the real idol,
yeah.
the genuine articles.
That's lame.
If
I know.
Wally sees me go to the grave, then he'll think that
He'll
there's
completely believe
the
it.
only possibility is that I really am Barry Allen because nobody else would think to do that, which is dumb.
Yes.
Well, hang on. Actually, his identity wasn't known, so actually that would be a reasonable
That's right.
assumption to make, unless he was from the future.
Yeah, but if that's his logic and thinking, then he should be like, well, then I'll just continue to be a good guy.
You're using his logic. You're using your own logic, not his.
Yeah, he's
a
an
lunatic.
insane person.
That's my whole point. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, I'll be the Flash. Well, I'll be the
Well,
Flash.
that's the thing. Well,
Well, what's
I'm still Barry.
We're
No,
not
but
caught up
remember,
yet.
he snaps when he hears someone else refer to Wally as the Flash.
That's right.
He's like, no, Wally's not the Flash. Barry Allen was the
don't
Flash
forget,
slash
he
I
hasn't-
am the Flash.
He hasn't actually gone back in time yet. So Thawne is now. He looks like Barry. He has Barry's costume. He has Barry's powers. He has Barry's book about his life. He's going back in time. He's got the cosmic treadmill.
Holy shit, he didn't know he killed Iris yet.
No, he doesn't.
That's weird.
Yes. So he goes back, right? And then he gets transported. And when he goes through, the winds of time nearly tear him apart. And when he ends up back in time, he overshoots it. And so he doesn't go back in time to the time of Barry Allen. He comes back in time to now, 1993, where Barry Allen's already dead,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So he's like, crap, I did all that for nothing.
Right.
So he goes to the Flash Museum and he like has this, euphoric fanboy nostalgic experience where he's like
Yeah.
learning more about the Flash. Then he gets to the Rogues Gallery section and he finds out about Barry Allen's greatest villain, him. The guy that Barry kills.
Right.
And his mind snaps. Because he's like, wait a minute, all I want to do is hang out with Barry, and I find out when I'm here that not only is he dead, but one day I'm going to go back to the future, then go back to the past, become his greatest nemesis, murder his wife, and then get murdered by him? Fuck that!
Okay, that's pretty crazy.
That's
and
pretty
cool.
crazy.
Wait a minute. How was he able to learn so much about Barry Allen in his own time
And not know that?
learn about his greatest nemesis?
I don't know. It's not in the book for some reason.
All right.
But it is in this 3D diorama, which is pretty inappropriate, in the Flash Museum that depicts Barry murdering Reverse Flash.
That's just
That's
gripping him by the
awesome.
costume. That's not him literally choking the life out of
And
him.
actually, that is a recreation of the cover in which he does it, which is right there.
Nice. Get
planning.
up, you can't be dead.
Spoilers, he is.
Spoilers, you did. Maybe it's because the museum was destroyed in this episode and not rebuilt.
Right.
And all they have in the future is a treadmill in some pawn shop.
Right, except they're gonna rebuild it. He's got 480 years left to work.
Yeah, and they know a lot about Barry Allen because he learns a lot about him. He studies him. So there's a lot of information still in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the fact that at one point everyone just gets disenfranchised with the Flash.
Well,
'cause
they
it's
do.
like, well, he had like 1/4 Superman's powers.
Exactly.
What's the point?
Yeah, why worship him? So Eobard is distraught. His whole life is a lie. His mind is snapped, and it causes him to have temporary amnesia. So he thinks he is Barry Allen for a
Oh
minute.
my god.
And that's why when he was alone and no other character was around and he was still referring to himself as Barry Allen, he was still in canon doing that, and it wasn't like a cheat.
Right.
It's not like Wonder Woman used her lasso on him and was like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Barry Allen."
But Green Lantern uses the ring on him,
Oh.
and he believes he's Barry Allen, so it works.
Oh.
Because Hal uses the ring to prove that he's not lying.
See, I had no
I
idea.
guess Hal's ring can do what Diana's lasso could do too. So now Green Lantern's aping off of Wonder Woman. She's only got the couple of powers herself. Wally's like, okay, you will be murdered by Barry in the past, so I've got to use the cosmic treadmill and send you back to the future. And Eobard's like, I have no intention of doing that. I'll just break the cosmic treadmill. And so Wally's like, you're not going to do that because that's the greatest piece of Flash memorabilia that's ever existed. And Thawne's like, damn you!
No, my fanboy is showing!
Then Hal and the other Flashes show up.
Hal shows up?
Yeah, because, it's round 2. So
Okay.
Thawne fights a couple of Flashes, Johnny Quick and Max Mercury because Jay's in the hospital, and Hal Jordan. Hal pushes...
I had to be here because Jay broke his leg.
Yep.
Worked out his
And
leg
I had a
broken, I should say.
tie-in.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If this is Eobard Thawne, and he just got his powers not that long ago, how is he already able to do the vibrate move better than Wally?
Right. Well, because he has Barry's powers.
I thought Wally had Barry's
and he also
powers.
studied Barry.
Right.
He de facto is Barry. So it's not a lie. Barry Allen does return in spirit.
Explain to
Second
me.
question.
Yeah.
If Hal Jordan's here, how come he can affect Eobard Thawne? Because he's wearing a yellow costume.
He can't.
Oh, yeah?
He can't. And
Oh, he
Thawne's
puts shit around him, but he can't actually touch him.
the cage doesn't affect him. So
he
what
just walks through
what
it.
Hal
Oh, hey,
does?
look at that.
Oh, yeah.
So Hal actually grabs rubble and pushes the rubble against him. But then
Oh.
Thawne uses his vibrating powers and he just leaves. And the other guys are cryptically talking about what happened to Jay. So Wally assumes, of course, that Jay is dead. They go to the hospital. They take some R&R. Wally gives everyone the burnt book from the future. Everyone reads it, and they're like, what? They read the author credit, and they're like, this is insane. That can't be. And he's like, I know. That's why this is a very important story for me. I got to get in this. I got to deal with this. So Thawne goes to Linda's news program, Wally's girlfriend,
Oh, God.
and he vibrates his hand through the co-host, kills him, and then he reveals that, he's like, okay, so my costume's different, but I am the Flash that's gonna, be in charge from now on. But yes, I am Eobard Thawne, Professor Zoom, and, I guess the fight with the Flashes and Green Lantern undid the plastomorph work, because his face changes back into being Eobard Thawne and not Barry Allen.
Well, now that I remembered who I am,
The plastomorph just fell right off. You see, it's thought-based or willpower-based. No, it's literally they physically
just punched
broke
him in
his bones into Barry's face, and then literally there's no reference to why or how his body changes. My guess is because it's done in such a way where there's kind of vibration going on, that he vibrates his face back to its original state.
He's like, well, the
jig
charade's
is
over.
up.
Yeah.
Yes. So he vibrates out of the plastic surgery. So I guess next to him is a pile of flesh and bone.
No, it just goes back into him.
Yeah,
He absorbs
it's
it
the
in.
same amount of mass. It just rearranges.
Yes, back to his original face. And what's great is, of course, they're like, I guess I know who that is.
Yeah,
He died a while ago.
everyone in
before
this future is just
Crisis.
Yeah.
oh, this guy?
Well, and that's the thing is did that happen? Because that was before Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Some people probably remember
People remember that he died because they have that diorama
Right,
of
but-
him being murdered by
In the
Flash.
museum.
Yes,
In the
but
museum.
after Crisis, time got rebooted and everyone got new origins.
Yeah, but that still happened
Except for
because it was in
Barry.
the museum.
Well, but Barry didn't get a new origin because he's not alive in the post-Crisis continuity. So all of his shit must have happened.
Yes, it all happened.
Including Iris, who was a star baby, who after she died, went back to the future and got dumped into a dead body, and then reunited with Barry in the future. I guess all that
It all
happened too, right?
yeah.
Oh, but that's not complicated and dumb. Right? Because we need to have Frank Miller, Batman Year One, and Superman, John Byrne re-originized. But also Barry's stupid wife got murdered by dumbass discount future Flash.
So now he's gonna marry. Now he's gonna murder Linda.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to stick it to Wally. Because
That's
now he's
right.
like, well, now I don't like you because you
Yeah.
tried to stop me.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
remember my move? My vibrating hand
That's
brain
right.
move?
That's right. And everyone on TV was like, no. So he's gonna do the thing.
I just saw you murder a man going your hand through his chest, so this is probably gonna be pretty graphic.
Pretty
though.
good. It's pretty gross. So Wally goes so fast. He flashes in and saves Linda.
He's so fast he saves the day.
Wally's inhibitions about replacing Barry have gone by the wayside because as far as Wally's concerned, he makes he has a monologue in his head where he's like, I was always worried about replacing Barry, but I'll be damned if I let him do it. So
I guess it's better if I replace him than this guy.
exactly.
Somebody has to replace him, clearly.
Clearly, I'm wearing his I'm wearing his damn
How
costume.
about nobody replaces anyone, man? It's just a name.
Well, clearly, not for long, because all these other Flashes keep showing up, and they're not called Flash, so they're getting all these new names.
Yeah, Wally to put a stop to that is just
true.
like, no.
No more.
Flash is over. You want to be a speedster, you gotta have a
You gotta come up with another name. Wally fights Reverse Flash.
Yeah, so we got a lot of fight scenes.
Yep, their battle goes back to the Flash Museum. They're out front, so Wally's down for the count.
Where's the other Flashes? Why aren't they helping?
Oh no, it's very personal. So
Yeah,
they
only,
let him do it.
only Wally can do
Let
it.
them.
They don't even watch. They're at the hospital.
Like, or guarding Jay.
Yeah.
We can't leave Jay in this condition. His leg is broken in 6 places.
He needs like 5 people to like stay at his side and support him.
Yeah, he's old. Don't forget.
And Hal's like, well, I'm useless.
Yeah.
Well, I can't. Yeah, he can't do anything.
No, because he's yellow.
Yeah.
So
Throw some paint on him, I'll help you out.
that's right. So Batman swoops over, drops purple paint on him, and he's like, everyone gets one, and then leaves. So Reverse Flash is gonna vibrate his hands and then like squish Wally's head.
Oh.
And right before that happens, a bolt of lightning strikes, coincidentally, between Eobard and Wally.
Oh.
And slows down Eobard long enough for Wally to get his bearings and then just pummel the living shit out of Eobard. This upper hand completely destroys Eobard Thawne's resolve, and he becomes a sniveling, quivering man-child. He's like, no, don't hurt me! And, Wally gets the upper hand, he defeats Thawne, and he just slaps him around and leads him into the Flash Museum.
Okay, we see one slap, but that's like 50 slaps.
Oh, yeah. That one
Viber
swipe
slap.
is actually 10,000 swipes per swipe. Eobard's like, please kill me, let me die. And Wally's like, oh, no, you don't. Barry's got to kill you.
What would happen if Wally killed him right now?
He'd undo the timeline or something. Like, they talk about how, like, they need to preserve the timeline.
Right. Why?
So, I guess because they just have it on good authority that that's a bad
They
idea
really
to mess with.
don't.
They don't. So what's funny is Wally says, I've got access to the cosmic treadmill now, Eobard. Maybe killing you here is not good enough. Maybe I'll go back in time and I'll slap you as a baby. Or I'll pants you as a teenager. Or I'll do all the things that Jeff Johns will retcon that Thawne does to Barry when he's growing up. So actually, if you hate that retcon, it was Wally's idea, and Thawne gets it in this book. That's kind of gross. I hate that retcon, by the way.
Yeah.
That, like, Thawne hates Barry, but is tied to Barry's origin, so if he kills Barry, Thawne doesn't exist anymore. So he's like, if I can't kill him, I'll just demoralize him.
I'll harass
so
him.
like every time that like Barry makes a friend as a kid, Thawne goes back in time and unmakes the kid. And so like Barry didn't have a friend. When Barry had like a dog, the dog doesn't get like, he gets hit by a car or something. When Barry's making out with this girl, he jerks him off in the theater so that Barry thinks he has premature ejaculation. Like it's all it's all Thawne's fault. That's literally a meme actually that people use. They're like,
Oh, yeah?
it was me, Barry. You thought you were a hair trigger, but it was actually me jerking you off. And it's like, it's a joke, but like not. Like when he starts unmaking friends of Barry,
Yeah.
when he starts having crushes on girls in his own time, Eobard Thawne,
Yeah.
and then she goes for other guys and he goes back in time and unmakes the guys, and so she goes out with him, but she never does, so he makes her, then you might as well just have him jerk off Barry Allen in the theater when he's a teenager. Like, it's just that stupid.
Well, also he's changing time all the time.
All the time. So literally,
Why can't Wally change time and just murder him right now?
because
Guess
they
he's not a
haven't-
murderer.
Because they haven't gone that far yet.
Right.
Barry did.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't yet. Well, he hasn't done anything yet. He's a skeleton. So Wally is threatening Thawne with all these esoteric concepts about what he's
Right.
going to do to him.
Yeah.
And so he jumps on the treadmill and he like runs on it and he fades away. And Thawne's like, no! So he jumps on the treadmill and he runs after him into the future. And so he disappears into the future. And then Wally's like, nah, what a sucker. I just ran so fast that I looked like I was going into the past, but I actually just jumped off the treadmill and ran to the other room.
He didn't see that. Another speedster
That's
couldn't
right.
see you do all that.
Nope. Especially not a speedster who has the exact same powers as Barry Allen and can literally do more things than Wally West. Yeah. So then
Well,
Hal Jordan and
because he slapped me 10,000 times.
I was all out of sorts.
He was a little out of sorts.
I was crying.
Then the cavalry shows up and they're all like, "Hey, did we just miss the fight?" And Wally's like, "Yup."
Yes.
So like basically the timeline's preserved. So now Thawne will have basically he will do all that crap where he like gets obsessive, gets plastomorph surgery,
Yeah.
goes back in time, fights Wally, then goes back to the future. The time tunnel will make him all woozy and like amnesiac, but the future cops will have his ident tags, know he's Eobard Thawne, and put him back where he needs to go so that he can inevitably do all the shit he did in the Barry Allen books and then
Right.
die.
Right. What causes him to go back in time in those books?
He wants to meet Barry Allen, hang out with him.
But not only that,
He just does it right.
He does it right
Later.
that time, yeah.
he's going to get in the future. There's still a cosmic treadmill in the future.
Yeah.
You could just break the cosmic treadmill now and then he can't come back.
But he will come back because he already has.
Yeah, but I can't break the cosmic treadmill because that'll mess up time or whatever.
That's right.
I know that he needs to use it in the future.
Uh-huh. So then they go home and, they rebuild the Flash Museum. Linda and Wally, like, have a nice time. They're walking around. Wally looks at the credits page of the future book, and that's what gave him the confidence he needed because the book, The Life Story of the Flash, was written in 1997, 4 years after this book was published, by Iris West.
But she's dead.
She's dead. So they know that at some point in the
No.
next 4 years,
She'll come back
Iris
to
is gonna
life?
come back to life, which means maybe Barry can too.
Oh. So this book is like, fuck you, I'm not bringing Barry back. Well, but maybe.
Yes!
People can come back, so...
Yeah, like Iris.
All I'm saying is that it didn't happen in this story,
Right.
but it's gonna.
It could.
But I'm going to keep that hope alive for Barry Allen lunatics everywhere.
That's right. And Wally's like, I could read this book cover to cover and know my own future, but I'll just throw it in the river. What's sad, of course, is that, like, he should have kept that book because it might have mentioned Jeff Johns and what he'll do to him.
Right.
And how irrelevant he'll become in the, in the 2010s.
No one cares about me.
Oh no! That's the return of Barry Allen. It's not. It's a big trick, but it's like a fun trick where it's
Right.
like you do get it because for all intents and purposes, Barry comes back and we get to see like what Barry might do if he were faced with a future where he was sanctified and doesn't have his wife.
No, you
Like,
don't
he's
see
not
that at
Barry.
all.
No,
You see what a crazy lunatic would do if he thought he was Barry Allen. I don't want to see that.
Gotcha, motherfucker! Hope you like that. Stop asking me to bring him back.
And then he'll write another one of these. Huh? I'll just keep writing horrible stories where he comes back and
Oh,
it's
Mr.
awful.
Wade, this felt really bad at the end. I wasn't happy at all. Good. Don't make me do it again.
Yeah, it's called a parable. Learn something from it,
shut
dipshit.
up. Okay, cool.
I love it because like I remember like hearing about this story and everyone like really celebrating it. People really like the story, and I do
Yeah.
too.
It's fun.
As a kid,
There are some cool parts.
as a kid, I remember seeing the cover of Flash 75 where they introduced this, and they show Barry Allen. I go, oh, that's the Reverse Flash.
Huh. What? How did you know?
Because he has a sadistic smile and he's fast.
He does have a sadistic smile.
I was like, oh, it's Reverse Flash. Like, I immediately thought that was the twist, and it
Right.
was, and it's like, but if you were a big Barry Allen fan from the 60s,
Yeah.
you know damn well Eobard's dead.
Right.
But all it took was Mark
we
Waid
also know
having...
Barry is dead.
Yeah. Yeah, but...
So you want Barry to come back. You think he's coming back in this book. Well, then why couldn't Dawn come back?
Yeah.
But why would Thawne cry over his dead wife's grave?
Yeah, gotcha. No, it's a great bait and switch, and I think it's fun because, like, ultimately, it also works because it preserves what happened.
Right.
It's weird because it's
Yes.
like, you came back now, and then I'm going to send you back to the future so you can
come
go
back
to the past.
earlier.
This is happening before the previous story that already happened.
Yeah.
Well,
your-
time travel,
your-
it can happen whenever.
Right, it's like Thawne's first appearance in the main DC universe is this, and then his second will be in his actual first.
Yeah. In his timeline, yes, this is first.
Right.
From the perspective of Eobard Thawne, this is his first adventure.
That's right. It's kind of neat.
All right.
Of course, they'll run him into the ground, no pun intended. But
Yeah.
it's fun. I think it's fun, and it's just like this is the kind of hijinks that you might expect from a Flash book.
Yeah.
Really, the more applicable Flash type stuff is in, what was it, like the Combine?
Oh yeah, what happened with the Combine? Did they beat the
Nothing.
Combine? I
Oh,
guess they deal
there
with it.
was
in
no
books
answer.
after
We
this.
set that up later.
Yeah.
But like Combine is like the kind of shit you normally get in a Flash book.
Right.
That's why
This is
people
the extra
point to this.
special
They're like,
Flash.
oh, like people.
Combine and
travel
like
stuff.
energy bubble.
Nobody cares about
No,
Combine.
no.
It's oh, Barry Allen's back. Like,
Yeah.
no one celebrates Flash books. If anybody
Yeah.
if everyone's like, oh man, you gotta read a Flash, like you're a Flash, you want to get into Flash? Here's 6 books. What else is there? Don't read those.
Yeah. Here's 6 books about like time travel
Here's
and
6 books.
unmaking reality and crap.
What else you got? These Justice League
Oh, is that
books?
what every Flash book is about?
No, most of them are about like Mirror Master or
Captain Cold.
Captain Cold,
Captain Boomerang.
Boomerang.
A lot of captains.
People really like another one called The Dastardly Death of the Rogues. It's like, so if you completely upend Barry or Wally's status quo,
That's a good
odds
Flash
are
book.
that'll be a seminal Flash book.
Right.
You know, one that requires tons of context. I love that. Like these are the stories that are preserved, ones that you desperately
like,
need
what?
backstory for. Where if you're reading this cold, you're like, oh, what the fuck they're even talking about?
Yeah, you can't just pick it up.
No. I mean, you can, and you might get an inkling of a fun story out
Well,
of it.
first you got to get like a book that's like the complete history of the Flash, and then like once you got that, now you can read this.
Yeah,
and
you
enjoy
gotta.
it.
In essence, you gotta channel Eobard Thawne and become a Flash fan.
I
And
like
then
the
you can read those things.
I like the fact that you mentioned his creepy smile because on the cover of this he has a creepy smile
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
also
right.
creepy,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
on this trade paperback cover.
Agreed.
Which is weird. It shows film as if that has anything to do with this book.
I know.
There's no film at all.
No, I think that it's actually a reference to like Speed.
Right, because film moves really fast.
Yeah.
Well,
Each frame
film
is
has
only
a
like
speed.
slightly
Like-
farther forward in time.
Yeah, like that's it. It's just because it's thematically applicable to Speed. And I don't know how else to do a Flash cover. Like, what is he gonna do? Run? There's Flash fans who like Flash because it's a lighthearted, fun story, but a guy who runs.
Yeah.
And then there's the other people who are like, I love Flash because there's this nonstop tragedy and death. And it's like, yeah, if you only read the 6 trades that have that,
Right.
in
I thought that's what the Flash was.
yeah, and it's like, dude, read the story with Captain Cold. Except even those are super creepy and miserable too. Now, anyway, pick up the Return of Barry Allen, the first one, the real Return of Barry Allen, the one where he comes back and shows you that even though you may have asked for it, you don't want it because Wally's Flash.
So just deal with it.
Just
For at
deal with
least
it.
several more years.
Yes, until Jeff Johns comes roaring in like Eobard Thawne out of the time tunnel. The Return of Barry Allen, the real Return of Barry Allen. I'm talking to you, Jeff Johns. I don't care how many finger guns we do on this show.
Not this time.
I prefer this one because it preserves Wally. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys next week with an all-new episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So long. Hey, where'd you get those?
Nowhere. I don't have super speed or anything.